Good morning and welcome into the Lifeline Morning Show. I'm Steven. Thanks so much for hanging out with me. You know, I love getting your day started off on the right foot. And to help with that, I use an inspiring quote. And today's is so good. God gave us memory so that we might have roses in December. Oh, I love that. You know what it tells me? No matter where I'm at in life, no matter how hard the situation, I can remember a time when I was happy. And somehow that makes me happy right there and then. Seriously, if you ever find yourself down in the dumps, think about your loved ones. Think about memories you've made with them. Think about your child and how they've grown through the years and some of the cutest memories. Let them flood your mind, and it'll give you a little relief in the moment. We need to remember from time to time. So that's it. That will help you today. It's already helping me. Thanks for hanging out with me right here on the Lifeline Morning Show. We've got 2 hours of show. We're going to talk about some amazing stuff. Here's some great music. And you know what? I hope you'll strap in and be here the whole time. Just in case you can't be, though, on the radio, you can tune us in online, 885jfm.com. Click that On Now button and press play. And you can hang out with me until 10 o'clock. Thank you so much for doing that. Have you been dealing with some anxiety? You really been worrying lately? Well, I've got a little clip that might just help you out. Why is it that we envision the worst case scenario whenever we're dealing with something? It's like we worry about the future, right? But did you know that's actually robbing you of much needed energy? Now, I want you to think about this. Myron Golden, I think, put it best. Here, I'm going to let him talk to you.
Anything we tell ourselves about a future outcome, we made it up.
Go ahead.
If you're going to make up outcomes about the future, to me, it just makes more sense to make up outcomes that serve you than it does outcomes that don't serve you. It makes more sense to make up outcomes that give you the ability to serve people than it does to make up outcomes that rob you of the ability to serve people.
It's great.
Because you're making it up anyway. You're using the exact same amount of energy to conjure up an empowering story as you do a disempowering story. So why would you conjure up a disempowering story? That's counterproductive on way too many levels to count. That's literally the definition of worry. Like, I call worry wasting present energy on a future outcome that's undesirable to me. Worrying about something not working makes it not work because worrying about it robs you of the energy that could make it work. But you wasted it on worrying about it not working. By the way, if you're focused, what is worry? It's like you see an unfavorable outcome later so clearly that it creates a physical reaction in your body now, right? Mm-hmm. So if I can see that unfavorable outcome in the future in my mind right now, it requires the same amount of emotional energy to deal with it as it would if it were happening right now. But it's not happening right now, so all of that energy is wasted.
I love the way he said that. So many times we kind of get ourselves all stressed out thinking about what if this happens? What if the worst happens? But what if instead we asked ourselves, what if the best happened? What if this all works out? That gives me an instant relief. You know, it takes a little bit of weight off my shoulders when I can think in that way. And besides, I want you to remember all the rough stuff you've been through in your past. Are you here now? Did you make it through? Okay then. God's got you. He got you through then. He'll get you through now. Just trust him. You just got to hold on. Your word of life today comes to you from 1 John chapter 1, verse 9 in the New Living Translation of the Bible. But if we confess our sins to him, he is faithful and just to forgive us our sins and to cleanse us from all wickedness. I'm thankful for that. How about you? Yeah, hey, why don't you share that word of life with somebody and tell them what it means to you? We have got it ready for you across all of our socials, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, X, and TikTok, and it's always at the top of our website, 885jfm.com. All right, more great music headed your way, but I wonder, what kind of pet do you have? Are you a dog person? Are you a cat person? Do you have a gerbil? Maybe a snake? A bearded dragon? Well, there's one couple who have been feeding a critter. I'll tell you more about it coming up shortly. After I got home yesterday, my little girl wanted to go outside. And so we went, and while she was kind of playing with her new hula hoop she got for Christmas and jumping on the trampoline a little, I was walking around the back of the yard. I was just kind of, just walking. And I was really curious as to how my neighbor's chickens were doing. So I peeked over there. They're doing just fine. They're some big old girls, and they make some delicious eggs. My neighbor's been sharing with us, and I'm very thankful for that. So what kind of animals might you have? Are you a dog person? A cat person? Maybe you have a chinchilla, or maybe even a ferret? Yeah? Maybe a snake, a bearded dragon? There's all kinds of options. Well, for one couple, they lost their furry friend 2 years ago, their dog, and they've really been missing him. So when an opportunity arose for them to welcome another critter, well, they took it. Except they didn't quite welcome it into their house, more like just to their porch. Yeah, Stacy Joe is their daughter, and she's been posting about this over on X lately. And this is what she has to say. My parents had to put their dog down 2 years ago, and it's been really hard on them. Unfortunately, my stepdad, Rick, has found the worst way to cope. Feeding a 1-year-old raccoon. Yeah, you heard that right. A 1-year-old raccoon. All right, so what exactly is going on here? Well, they named him Little Rick, aka Raccoon. And by feeding him, I mean they make him breakfast every morning. My mom claims she's against it because he's a wild animal and dirty, but she's low-key in cahoots. This woman is lying to my face. She bought Little Rick sardines and berries and hard-boiled eggs for him and puts out a bowl of water so he can wash his little people hands. And you see, Stacy has tried to intervene and suggest a more traditional pet, but her parents just insist they're not interested in getting another pet. I've told them I'd love to get them a cat, maybe even a small dog. They say they don't want another pet. Then why does Little Rick have dog toys? She asked. While her parents claim otherwise, their actions, of course, speak louder than words. Little Rick has become an unintentional member of the family, showered with affection and a menu that rivals any gourmet restaurant. Little Rick even has a bed. They laid down towels and a blanket for him. Need I remind you, Little Rick is not a dog. He's a raccoon. He will bite. They're in denial. He's a cute little raccoon too. So, hey, you know what? Whatever makes you happy. They're enjoying feeding this raccoon. So whatever. I just had to tell you about it. Little Rick. There are certain sounds that just grab your attention. You know what I mean? It's just out of the blue. You hear it. And I mean, you look up from whatever you're doing and you've got to figure out, okay, what's going on? For me, sometimes it's, did you hear it? Water droplet? I did that in the microphone. No sound effects needed. I make my own. A water drop is fine, right? Every now and then out of the faucet. But if it becomes an all the time kind of thing, I can get kind of pricey with the water bill. And, well, not just that, but other sounds throughout your house as well. So which sounds do you really need to pay attention to? And which ones can you kind of let go? Stick around. We'll talk a little bit about that coming up shortly. Every now and then you hear these sounds in your home. Yeah, for me, lots of times it's when everything gets really quiet. I can hear that battery-operated clock that's on my wall, just there between the living room and the kitchen. That thing gets so loud. Sometimes, other times you can't hear it at all. But what are some sounds that you might hear? Some creaking, maybe some whistling, I don't know, maybe a drip drop from the faucet? Well, there are a few sounds that you should really pay attention to. You shouldn't just kind of, glaze past them. What are they? Well, here are just a few, and I've got the whole article I'll be sharing with you after the break. So listen up to this. In case you're hearing pipes clanking, there could be two things going on. Pipes that are loose or pipes with rapid changes in water pressure, also known as water hammer or hydraulic shock. Loose pipes may move as water flows through them, while water hammer happens when water flow is suddenly stopped, causing a shock wave. And in each case, well, there can be some pretty serious ramifications. It's good to call a plumber in that instance, just to make sure you don't have any burst pipes. To fix this, lots of times what they're going to do is install a water pressure regulator or a water hammer arrestor. So there you go on the clanging pipes. Number 2, rushing water noises. Oh, that's never fun to hear. Actually, that happened when I walked into the station one day. I actually heard that going on downstairs, and I checked it out, and yeah, there was a huge water leak, and it was just soaking the bathroom floor. It got the tiles, it got the paint on the wall. It was just, it was a mess. So always Pay attention to those rushing water noises because you know that's leaking out somewhere. It's got to go somewhere, right? Number 3 is whistling from the windows. If you hear that, that could be, well, inefficiency happening in your home. It could be maybe that the insulation or the sealant in your windows just isn't working properly. If you contact somebody, contractor, they can assess and improve the insulation, preventing energy loss and reducing utility bills because if that air is coming in, well, air is going out. If it's in the winter, well, you're having to heat even more because that heat is leaving through that crack. So, another, skittering in the walls. Now, this is something you might not hear first. It might be your pet because they can hear things like that a lot better than we can. But if you hear that skittering, especially at nighttime, it may be a problem with rodents because they are kind of nocturnal. And making sure to call an exterminator and listen to where you hear that skittering. You might be able to find the path that they're taking to get in and out of your house. So always pay attention to those sounds. Buzzing from lights. Now, buzzing is a little bit different from humming, but buzzing means that there might be an electrical arc happening and it's a bad problem. Could lead to a fire. So you definitely want to pay attention to that. Think of it like a miniature lightning storm inside your light switch. And you'll understand the importance of shutting that light off whenever you hear that buzzing. Yeah, it's a big deal. Another that I've got to cover is hissing near gas-powered appliances. Yeah, you don't want to mess with a gas appliance that's making noise because it may indicate a gas leak. So what do? Well, turn off the gas if you can, quickly move out of the room, and call an expert. They can come and check it out, make sure you're good to go. That's a scary situation. All right, well, that's all I'm going to cover right now. But tell you what, there are some more that you can see for yourself over on our 88.5 JFM Come Together Facebook group. You can go over there and check it out right now. I just posted it a few minutes ago. So all those sounds you definitely need to pay attention to right there. Again, that's the 88.5 JFM's Come Together Facebook group. My daughter and I, we were playing this game yesterday. As she was riding on her hoverboard and I was walking beside her, she said, "Hey, can we hum a tune from like a Disney or Netflix show and try to guess what it's from?" I said, "Yeah, love to do that." So we did. We had a good time. And it's funny, we always go back to Disney. It's such iconic movies, She even bought this little Disney magazine. And so we were reading some of it last night after we came back inside. It was pretty neat. But I've got to go back to this movie right here because it really helps with this story I'm getting ready to share with you. It's all about kids. And it's all about this.
I'm watching you, Wazowski. Always watching.
Always watching. Those kids are always watching, and they're always listening. And for Lindsay Moore, she was watching and listening when she was 7 years old. We're talking about 30 years ago. This memory has never left her mind. In fact, she's been working on doing something about it for so long, and it got her dad. I mean, big time. He was crying when this happened. So what she did, well, here, I'll just let it play. Here, take a listen to what happened. And I think you are absolutely gonna love this.
It says, "Dad, this was one of my most vivid childhood memories, how I remember. I was maybe 7 or 8 and you left me and Nick in the car to go into a store, a comic book store. Money was tight, so you were selling your most prized possession. At least I viewed it as that in the moment. I felt your sacrifice that taught me that I would do whatever necessary to ensure my future family never needed for anything. It was a lesson that has stuck with me since that moment. It taught me that the value of the greater good, everything I do in life, whether you work hard or good, I assured it was for the greater good's benefit. In that moment, as you got back in the car with extra cash to pay for whatever, bills due, groceries needed, my 7-year-old mind was determined to buy it back. I knew I would work hard enough to repay you, put into a greater good. I will never be able to fully repay that debt. A 7-year-old me would be so elated to see that I finally fulfilled that promise I made to myself. Thank you for everything. I love you, Lenny.
I know what it is then.
And out of this gift bag, he pulled a rookie Dan Marino card. Oh, it was his prized possession way back then. It got him the cash he needed to make things happen for his family. But that daughter, Lindsay, never forgot it. and tried to make it happen, and finally was able to give him back that card that he had to sell to make ends meet. I love stories like this. You know, those memories stick with us for a lifetime. And it's funny because it's not until you become a parent yourself that you realize just how much of a sacrifice that was and how important it is to do what you've got to do to make everything work, to keep a roof over your family's head, to keep food on the table. There are sacrifices that must be made, but those kids, they're always watching, and they understand a lot more than you think they do. So, Lindsay, wow, such an amazing story. Does your dog like smelling your breath? Why did they do that, right? Well, I found some answers. Why they like sniffing our breath. It's likely that they're trying to gather information about our health, our emotional state, or simply what we've been eating. I think usually it's what we've been eating because they're like always hungry, right? But did you know that dogs' noses are 100,000 times more sensitive than ours? In fact, it is their superpower. Yeah, they can smell a half a teaspoon of sugar in an Olympic-sized swimming pool. That's how powerful their nose is. So it's no surprise that Kua, that's the name of this police dog, was able to locate a missing kid all the way over in Finland. And I'm so glad I can do this story because we have a listener over in Helsinki, Finland, who's listening to us like all the time. And this is from their neck of the woods. So what happened was this little kid had gone missing on December 23rd around 7 o'clock. And the snow was falling. And you see, a bunch of kids, it kind of made these little snow castles. But as the snow kept falling, well, the castles collapsed. And that's where this kid was. But nobody knew it because his tracks were covered by the falling snow. And he was 3 feet underneath a pile of snow. Crazy, right? But dogs' noses are so sensitive that this police dog was able to sniff him out on the second try. And it was kind of devastating because when they found the kid, he was unresponsive. But as they warmed him up, he came to, and he was talking in the ambulance on the way to the hospital. So, wow, superpower. That dog's nose. I just had to talk about it. You know, our dogs are really helpful in so many situations, and they can clue into your emotional state. You ever notice how when you're sad, they'll come around and they'll want a little more affection from you? It's like they're there to help you. I love the way that works. So, hey, if you've got a furry friend, give him a little extra love from me today. I miss my boy, Max. He's been gone now for a couple of years, and I'm telling you, he was the best dog ever. So give your pet a little extra love from me today, would you? Thank you. The terrible twos, the tantrums, all the stuff that come in the toddler ages. Yeah, you know what? Yes, it's hard, but can it be a whole lot of fun? Well, according to one mom, yes. You've got to hear what she has to say about these toddler years, and it's coming up at the top of the hour, so stick around. Kaylee is a mom, and she is experiencing the toddler years. In fact, she's really good with words, so I want to read you her thoughts. She says, everyone warned me about the toddler years, the terrible twos, the tantrums, the tears, the testing of boundaries, all the dramatics. And right now we're in it. We have officially entered the toddler years. It's fair to say that I've been thoroughly warned in every which way of the tantrums and the fits. It's the demanding, independent, but also so needy, sometimes defiant tantrum stage. You name it, it's happening in this house. Most have told me this is the most trying stage yet. But let me tell you a little secret about this trying stage we're in right now. This stage, this terrible two stage, it's my favorite so far. It's your daddy's favorite too, because it's this stage where you first said the words, "Love you too, mommy." It's this stage when you found the fun in wrestling daddy to the ground in the living room, laughter radiating throughout the entire house. It's this stage where you reach for mommy's hand while watching cartoons, then turn towards her and give her a sweet smile. It's this stage where you grab daddy's face and pull his entire body in for a kiss right on the lips. It's this stage where you sing at the top of your lungs in your car seat to all of your favorite songs. It's this stage where you tell everyone you see at the store, "Happy birthday," because you're just so excited for your own birthday party. Now, don't get me wrong. This stage can be so hard. The days can feel long. The tears can seem endless. But the secret no one told me about the toddler years is how much I could absolutely love it. Nobody warned me about the beauty within the terrible twos. Sweet boy, Daddy and I lay in bed at night and talk about how much we want to freeze you. Freeze time. We want to freeze your sweet voice, your still so chubby thighs, your relentless love, your rambunctious personality. We even want to freeze your tantrums and your tears. Because soon enough, you're going to grow up and you won't cry over mommy taking 2 minutes to use the restroom. You won't throw a fit over daddy grabbing the wrong cup for you at supper time. Instead, your heart will face grown-up hurts. You'll experience some of life's hardest trials on your own. The days of crying over spilled milk will be gone. So instead of wishing the hard days away, wishing for time to speed up, I don't want to even for a second wish these toddler years away. Because these toddler years, these terrible twos, they're my favorite. Wow. I love that. I hope that lit your day up. So, Mom, Dad, did you do Elf on the Shelf this year? Yeah? Did that elf move all around the house? Did he have some pretty crazy antics he was up to? I tell you. My daughter Grace noticed that our elf kept moving around the living room. He was in one piece of art on the wall, and then he was hanging from the floor lamp. And I mean, it was one of those things. It's like when she realized he had moved, she was completely beside herself. Like, oh, how did that happen? And then whenever we'd find these like really funny Elf on the Shelf videos on TikTok, and crazy things that were happening, we'd show it to the elf and say, haha, you can't do this because I know what you'll be up to. You can't copy this now. But that Elf on the Shelf is now actually sitting on top of our cabinets, on top of one of those, we have a kind of decorative coffee cup up there. You know that blue willow pattern? Yeah, the elf likes to sit up there. My daughter calls it his chamber pot. So the elf is sitting on the chamber pot in our kitchen. Anyway, I found this guy, this comedian, who's having a little fun with the Elf on the Shelf idea. He's completely astounded at the whole thing. And I wonder, is there something else that sat on the shelf when he was a kid? Instead of the elf, was there something else? Something that could really grab your attention? You know where I'm going with this? Well, let's see if you're right. Come back right after Josh Wilson. The Elf on the Shelf. It's a lot of fun to do around Christmas time. Those elves, they get into some pretty serious situations, things that make you laugh. Yeah, well, I came across this comedian who's still trying to wrap his head around it. I don't know if you've ever heard of Greg Morton, but he is absolutely hilarious. You've probably seen him on America's Got Talent. He's the one who does that whole like Star Wars in 30 seconds. He goes through the different scenes. He does voices and sound effects. It's amazing. Well, he's also a stand-up comedian. And this is what he had to say about the Elf on the Shelf. Now, don't take a swig of coffee or anything, because you'll probably spit it out. You're going to laugh pretty hard on this one. Take a listen.
What is this Elf on the Shelf? If you're not good, the elf is going to go back and tell Santa. We had something different when I was a kid. It was called Belt on the Shelf. And if you misbehaved, that belt came flying off that shelf. It came to life. When I was a kid, my mom used to say to me, I will beat the black off you. Look at me, it dang near worked. Look at me.
A big shout out to our listeners in Louisville, Kentucky right now. Thank you for hanging out. Also, we got some people up in Skyline, Alabama. We got Boaz and Gunnersville hanging out with us. Also, our friends over in Helsinki, Finland. Thank you for being here, whether it's on the radio, the stream, or the podcast. We are so thankful for you. Well, stick around. Brian Trent has a deep word for all of us coming up here at 8:30. I think you're going to love it, especially if you're really looking forward to this new year. This could be just what you need to make the best of it, starting right now. Hey, thanks so much for hanging out with me here on the Lifeline Morning Show. I absolutely love doing life with you. I love bringing you fun stories, good news stories, but sometimes we need to get a little deeper. We need to really talk about some spiritual stuff, and I love when we can do that together. We've had opportunities to really pray for people who've needed it We've done that quite often here on the show, and I'm so thankful that you join your faith with mine. I've seen God work miracles through our prayers here on the radio. Now, we need to talk about something pretty serious. That's the struggle. It happens. You struggle with things in your life. Sometimes it feels like that stuff will never go away. Yeah. But you're not the only person to deal with that. Maybe it's something that you've been trying to overcome, and it's like, hey, it just hasn't happened yet. I don't know what my deal is. I don't know why I keep going back to that. I don't know why. But there's hope. And Brian Trent is going to share that with you this morning. Now, if you don't know Brian, he's from Hampton, South Carolina. He pastors the Lighthouse Church out there. He's got a little story for us. We're going to look in the Bible and draw a little strength from there and the struggle that you're dealing with. So really, pay attention to these words and see if it doesn't help you today.
Can I encourage you right now? Several years ago, I found myself at a point where I just looked at myself in the mirror one day and I said, Brian, when will enough be enough? I mean, seriously, when will you stop letting your past dictate the present and the future? So we're quickly approaching a new year, and so many of us begin thinking about new habits, new goals, new mindsets for the new year. But why wait until then? Why not now? Why not today? You see, in the Old Testament, book of Joshua, chapter 2, I drew a lot of strength and encouragement as it tells this amazing story about an unlikely woman named Rahab. See, Joshua was about to lead God's people into a victory over Jericho, where Rahab lived with her family. But prior to it happening, Joshua sent these 2 spies into Jericho, and to find safety, they actually stayed at Rahab's house. Wow. Well, Rahab went on to negotiate a deal with these spies. This was her chance. This was her opportunity, that her opportunity came knocking on the door that day, and she took advantage of it. Rahab became the vessel God used not only to make a way for the spies, and in essence really made a way for the entire nation of Israel, but also making a way for her family that was living with her. Rahab, who became the mother of Boaz and the grandmother of Obed, the great-grandmother of Jesse, and the great-great-grandmother of a guy named David. But before that, she was just an unlikely prostitute. Here's what I learned from Rahab that will encourage you today. You see, every single day for the rest of my life, your life, the devil's not going to stop reminding me or you of our issues, past, our sin. The devil's not going to stop trying to keep the curses alive in your life. The only thing that will change it is when you will get sick of it and decide to put a stop to it. Seriously, I want to know today, when will enough be enough? That's the driving question that I had several years ago. When will it be enough, Brian? Because the devil will always be fanning the flames of the curses in my life like he was Rahab. But she woke up that day and something was different in her. She had a lot of men knock on her door before those spies knocked on her door that day. She'd hid a lot of men from their wives before, I'm sure. She had lied 1,000 times before. But today, when that knock happened at the door, something was different in Rahab. See, today Jesus stands at our door and knocks. Oh, if you're like me, you've let in things before besides him. And a lot of times we're still living with the ramifications of the guests that we have allowed to come through the doors of our life. But today, Jesus stands and knocks, and he says this: Jericho ain't the only wall that's going to be falling around here today. You see, when this wall around you falls here in Jericho, so will the walls in your life. Every curse will be broken. Every chain will be snapped in two. You see, my life will keep on being the exact same. The curse will always be alive in my life. The lies will live on. The hurt will continue to make my decisions. The neglect will continue to be in charge of my destiny until that one day that you wake up and say, this is the day that I take it back. This is the day that enough is enough, and I stand up and take the victory that God has for me over the enemy. See, that day, Rahab had no idea what an impact she would have. Not only did God tear down walls and break curses for her, but he also delivered her family. That day she made that decision was the day that she also changed generations to come. In that moment, she reached out and touched a great-great-grandson that would become a giant slayer and an amazing king. You see, today, it's your day. Today is the day you tell the devil to stick the curse back up his backside and take it back to hell where it belongs. Today is a new beginning. Today is the start to the new you. Today is the day that you reach out to generations beyond you as you embrace the breakthrough God has for you today, right now. Today is the day of victory. Don't wait until the new year. Start right now. Enough is enough. Love you guys.
Again, that's Brian Trent. You can find him over on the socials. Just type in Trent Tribe. He's always got some amazing content. I'm so glad I can share it with you here. We're all about making your day better here. So I've got 3 things to talk about coming up in the next hour to do just that. First, we'll learn 3 things that we can embrace to help us be better leaders. We'll talk about a couple life hacks that could really help you enjoy the new year. And we'll talk about what learning really is. Is it just knowing something or maybe something deeper? Well, stick around. It's all coming up. The School of Hard Knocks. You ever heard of that place before? Yeah, not so fun, right? But there's actually a channel over on TikTok called School of Hard Knocks. And they go and interview a multitude of people. Lots of times it's very successful people, asking them, what did it take to get where you are today? And just so happens they stopped this former CEO of Blockbuster and 7-Eleven. His name is James W. Keyes. And they asked him a few questions. And he was ready to give them 3 things that will bring you success. And I thought, whoa, this is so good. I think maybe we should all hear this. So take a listen to what was said.
What industry did you decide to pursue a career in?
I had the blessing to be former CEO of 7-Eleven. I also was former chairman and CEO of Blockbuster.
What was the biggest driving factor of your success that enabled you to work your way up and become a CEO of a multi-billion-dollar company like 7-Eleven?
Yeah, I've got 3 things for you. I'll give them to you. They're my gift. First, change. People hate change. Everybody hates change. Harvey Mackay, a friend of mine, best-selling author, says the only one that likes change is a wet baby. And it's true. People react differently to change, and they go, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. Well, change is reality, and change equals opportunity. So I've coined that expression. CEO is all about change equals opportunity. If you embrace it, you'll see that if I respond to this change and others don't, I'm going to turn that into shareholder value. The second is confidence, because when things change, you lack confidence. You're like, oh no, woe is me. What's going to happen, right? But confidence is all about preparation. So the more you prepare, the more you can win. And the third is about clarity, simplicity. The hardest thing in the world is to keep things simple. So I think it was Michelangelo or somebody that said true elegance is in simplicity. I can't lead if you can't understand. So it's up to me to keep things simple and clear. Change, confidence, clarity. You want to know the path to being a CEO of a company or your life? It's those 3 things.
That sounds like some pretty actionable advice that we could start working on today. And hey, while we're at it, while we're always learning, I wonder, what exactly is learning anyway? Is it just knowing something, or could it be deeper? Well, stick around, because we're going to talk about that coming up here on the show. It's our 3 things to help make us, well, just a little bit better, to help make your day a little bit better, to help make your life a little bit better. I hope you'll stick around. And just in case you have to step away, stream us online, 885jfm.com. Click that On Now button. Some people decide after high school they want to go on and get a further education. Maybe they go to junior college, or they go to a university, maybe get a degree or 2, maybe even work on their master's, maybe their PhD. I mean, really, you can go as far as you want to, but for some people it's like, I'm done learning. I don't want to be in school anymore. I understand that, but we are always learning. But what do you define learning as when it really comes down to it? Is it just knowing something? Is it just watching a video? Well, I want you to listen to what Myron Golden has to say about learning. Let this speak to you.
Most people make the mistake of thinking that listening to somebody talk about something is learning, or reading about something is learning, or watching a video is learning, because they think the objective of learning is knowing. The objective of learning is not knowing. The objective of learning is mastery. And I'm going to define mastery as the ability to execute effortlessly without the use of conscious resources. In other words, when I tie my shoe, I don't have to think about it. It's effortless. Why? Because I've mastered tying my shoe. So my objective is not to learn a bunch of content for the purpose of teaching it. Mm-hmm. My objective is to learn a bunch of principles for the purpose of living them.
Yes.
And if I'm living them, I don't need to look up anything, because I can just talk about the stuff I did today, or the stuff I did yesterday, or the stuff I did last week, and it's all going to be good, because I'm teaching you from my life experience not from a notebook or
Right.
from a script.
Learning those principles and living them out. Wow. That's got some spiritual applications too, doesn't it? Hey, let's always be learning, okay? Let's be mastering. Let's be trying. Let's be exercising. Now, this is specifically to help make your new year better. Oh, they're life hacks. And I've got a list of 10 here, but I don't have time to get to them all. I'll briefly cover maybe one or two, and then we'll go deeper on a couple, okay? So the first one I thought was pretty cool because I've done this before. How to thaw frozen fish safely to make sure that you don't have any problems with any kind of bacteria. Yeah, okay, so that's on the list. Number 2 was how to find out if your old $2 bills are worth big bucks. There's a way to find out. And don't worry, I'll let you know more details at the end of this break, but those are just a couple. Another, how to clean a glass oven door. Yeah, could you use some help with that? I have a hard time cleaning our glass stovetop at the house. Goodness gracious. Yeah, it takes a lot of elbow grease, right? But this is the one I want to get to. I don't know if you've thought about traveling, but you're like, we just don't have enough money to really do this thing. Maybe you count down how many states you've been to in the U.S. and it's like, well, I've been to 4. I've been to 5. Or maybe you've just been here in Alabama and you're like, hey, I want to expand that. I want to see more of this country. Well, guess what? There is a way you can travel across the U.S. by train for less than $500. How cool is that? Yeah, and it happens within 30 days. So, you'll have to have a month to do it, but less than 500 traveling by train. So I'm going to give you the more information for that one right after this, but here's one I thought this will come in handy. It's so practical. If you ever get bananas and you bring them home, or any fruit for that matter, you bring them home and after a while you notice you have these little gnats flying around. Did you know that there is a natural way to get rid of them? Yeah, it's called the mini pitcher plant. That thing will help you take care of those gnats. They kind of eat the gnats. So yeah, and I know we've tried many things before, like a little glass with some apple cider vinegar in it and some saran wrap on the top. It kind of catches the gnats in there. It's stinky though. And this mini pitcher plant might be a better way for you to control those little pests. So that's just a couple of them I wanted to go deeper on. The rest, though, all 10 can be found right now over on our 88.5 JFM's Come Together Facebook group. I just posted them a few minutes ago. So go over there and check out the life hacks. And it's our most popular life hacks of 2023 is the title. So you can check it out right there. Again, that's the 88.5 JFM's Come Together Facebook group.
I was pacing around the parking lot just thinking, where could I put it? Where would it be?
Yeah, that's Alex, and he got a whole bunch of Christmas cash. But guess what? It came up missing. He was beside himself. Where did it go? Because we're talking about thousands of dollars. I got a good ending to this story. You're going to love it. So stick around. We'll get into it next.
I get a lot of tips, and I don't know why. But I talk to them. I talk to riders, and we get good conversation.
That's Esben Kamau. You see, he's been an Uber driver for the past 4 years on and off. He's a father of 5, and he loves taking people where they need to go and starting up a conversation with them. Just so happens that he picked up this rider in Hoover, Alabama, whose name is Alex. Now, Alex Tisdale had just, received a bunch of cash. And through the conversation Esben had with him, he found out that this cash was from his dad because his dad was so proud of him and wanted him to have enough money to buy himself a new motorcycle. So it was $8,000 in cold, hard cash. And Alex had it on him, except when he got out of the car, he didn't have it on him anymore.
I realized there's something at the back of my seat, and I picked it immediately. And when I checked, I saw there's a lot of money, quite a lot, to be honest.
Yeah, and immediately Alex knew.
I was pacing around the parking lot just thinking, where could I put it? Where would it be?
What to do, though? I mean, they'd only just met one another. So they both got on Uber, and they found each other that way. And Esben was more than happy to find out that, hey, he found Alex, and he wanted to bring the money to him. He did it without any hesitation at all. And let's just say that Alex was so relieved.
I was relieved, so surprised he actually came back, because that was a very, very nice thing of him to do.
When you do something good, okay, it comes back 10 times.
I love it. It's a good news story. The money was lost. He thought all was gone, but then Esben came to the rescue and they were able to exchange that money back. And so now Alex, he gets to go buy his motorcycle. That was almost a terrible end to Christmas. My goodness. I'm so glad it had a happy ending. I'm all about happy endings around here. I'm so happy to talk with you about them. Some good news, because there's plenty of bad stuff out there. But whenever I can find the good stuff, I'm going to bring it to you because I know we need to hear it. Okay? Thanks for hanging out with me here on the Lifeline Morning Show. Now, here's Casting Crowns, all because of Mercy. Right now, I see you listening to us up in Louisville, Kentucky, also Reno County, Kansas. We got some people listening in Birmingham. We've also got Gunnersville and Skyline, Alabama, and we've got our friends all the way over in Helsinki, Finland. Thank you for making us part of your day. You're the reason why we're here. God gave us memories so that we might have roses in December. What a quote. J.M. Barrie wrote that. I love the sentiment behind it because we can recall all those great memories when we're in the middle of a really hard time, and it helps us to get through. You know what? Sometimes I'm afraid that we have like a temporary amnesia when we're in the middle of a struggle. We forget all the times God has brought us through, all the times He's rescued us, all the times He's been with us through that thing, and it made us better on the other side. So I want you to remember the roses. I want you to remember the good times in the middle of the struggle. That's going to help you keep moving. And as long as you keep it right there in front of your Father, He's going to help you. Just come to Him with it. Somebody needed to hear that. If not you, then me. Because sometimes we decide we want to take on these struggles all by ourselves. But that's simply not how we should do it. We have a support system, whether that's your spouse or, I don't know, your church. Maybe somebody in your life, a good friend. We have a support system that wants to help us keep moving forward. And if you're struggling, maybe be a little vulnerable. Reach out to them and tell them, hey, this is what I'm dealing with. And you never know what kind of support you'll receive. Whether it's just the relief of telling somebody that helps you, or maybe they have something they can do or some advice to give you to help you through it a little easier. Just an idea for you. But remember those good times in the middle of those bad times, and it's going to make it a little bit easier. Thank you for hanging out with me here on the Lifeline Morning Show. Programming note, I will not be here tomorrow. I won't be here on Monday either. So I got a little time off here for the new year. I will be back here Tuesday. So I'm looking forward to seeing you for a brand new Lifeline Morning Show then. So I just wanted to give you a heads up. It looks like tomorrow and Monday, we'll be getting a little bit of help from that other radio show. Kevin and Taylor, they do a really good job of filling in. So they're going to fill in tomorrow and Monday, and I'll be back here on Tuesday. All right. I will see you then. I hope you have an amazing New Year's weekend. All right. Make it the best one ever. And let's ring in this new year right. Here's Patrick Mayberry with Easy to Praise. Hey, I just want to let you know, it really means a lot that you hang out with me. I feel it. It means so much to me.